And welcome back. As promised before the break, we're sitting down to talk about the 2016 Bowen and Bowen National Spelling Bee. And joining us for this conversation, we have Leanne Castillo, Coca-Cola Brand Coordinator, and Jamor Lopez from the Ministry of Education. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
morning.
Good
morning,
William.
William.
Good morning, Marlene.
And
Thank you
maybe
for
we
having
should
us.
have started off with some spelling, all right?
I was doing it during the break.
Microcephaly.
Yes. Word of the day.
All right, let's talk a little bit about, of course, encapsulating first the history of the spelling bee, how long it has been around.
This is our 22nd year doing this. So last year we became legal, and this year,
Legal twice.
so but yeah, this year marks our 22nd year, and I'm glad that you mentioned it earlier. Our new name, we're formerly known as the Coca-Cola National Spelling Bee, but this year we're doing something different, and moving forward, we're now B&B National Spelling Bee.
Okay. So it's not Bowen and Bowen, it's B&B.
It's B&B
B&B.
National
Ah,
Spelling
right.
Bee. Yes, but we're still Coca-Cola still supports education and still supports this initiative, but we decided, we have both agreed that to have B&B in the name.
Yeah.
So
Which is the larger company.
yes, but not to take away from our partners, the
Yeah.
Ministry of
And
Education.
just a bit of history.
Yeah.
The spelling bee was started by the Ministry of Education many, many years ago. And for whatever reason, it went dormant. And it was Sir Barry who revived the spelling bee. And so we have this wonderful partnership for the last 22 years between the ministry and Bowen, and has been a wonderful collaboration.
Now, it has obviously been, and I think one of the things that anybody in their primary school experience can remember, well, of course, of certain years, I should say, can remember the energy that gets stimulated within the schools itself. And while the public sometimes is only aware of the final spelling bee, there's a lot of preliminary work that takes place, and that's the stage that you're at right now.
Yes.
So let's talk about that.
Zone, okay. So we are about to kick off the zone eliminations. We have 6 districts in Belize, and Belize district and Kaya district, they're unique. They have substations. So if you look, for example, at the Corozal district, we have 7 zones. The Belize district has, I believe, maybe about 7 or 8, and then the Keys, that's a substation, so there is somebody to oversee that. The Kaya district has Belmopan as a substation, and then there is Santa Elena, San Ignacio, and also Benquevejo. So for our purpose within the ministry, we cluster schools by zones, and so we also utilize that for this competition and other things that we do within the ministry. So next week, Tuesday, for example, Orange Walk, they start off, and I think they'll be doing theirs for 2 days. And so they have their different zones. Almost all of our schools countrywide participate. And so schools will have, for example,
Mini spelling bees.
mini spelling bees to determine who will be their representatives for that particular zone. And there is a first and second place, and whoever wins within that zone then go to the district finals. And then when we have the district finals, we select first place, second place, and an alternate, and then they go to the nationals. And so the month of February is for the zone eliminations.
And looking at putting together the lists, does it get more difficult as you progress in the competition itself?
Certainly. As a matter of fact, the general list for this year, and I've shared a copy with you, and you could probably challenge William.
I'm available for training now. I'm kidding.
22 years and running, and some of the words that we utilize, if you do research online in terms of the Howard Scripps spelling bee, some of the words that we use come from that list. And so the degree of difficulty continues to increase. The general list, well, we always use words that are of French origin, Italian, Latin, Greek. And so the general list, which is shared with everyone, the students, they get to practice. They also get an audio file so that they get a sense of the
Perfect.
pronunciation, and then the pronouncers as well, so that it's standardized. Or we have words, for example, ushbenka.
How did you know I was watching that word? I wanted to bring it up because you said French, and I wanted to say, well, you got a Mayan word
Yeah,
in
that's
here.
right.
That's actually been relevant
Of
to
course.
or Belizean
And
population.
we're hoping that when that is done, that the students down south in Toledo, they're going to nail that.
They'll smile and tell you
smile,
what
it's
it
like-
means to. So, William,
And it's a proper noun.
Yeah,
A
that was a
proper-
good
it's a
one
proper
for
noun.
him.
And
he was
so
gonna forget.
once it's a proper noun, the pronouncer
say
will say proper noun, and then once you start spelling, you have to
See,
say
I don't know the
capital.
rules of the spelling game.
Oh, so you do tell them when it's a proper
Yes,
noun.
you have to indicate, and if the student starts to spell without saying capital, the pronouncer, well, the judge will indicate to the pronouncer
That is
that
wrong.
the child needs to try again, because without saying capital, then it's not correct.
Okay, ushbenka, William. It's a proper noun.
It's a proper noun.
And in Maya, when you hear that song, it's an X.
He
I
knows
know.
this.
It's like if you say
Are you gonna
Shaibi.
spell like the spelling bee, children?
No.
Put
But
William on the
I'm
spot.
assuming that you spell it, since you said that, capital U X B E N K H A.
Try again.
Or not with the H at the end, with the
Yeah,
A.
just with the
Yeah,
and then we'll say correct.
yeah, without the
Right?
H, but
Yeah.
I
But-
mean, we can have fun with it now, and I always tell people, you know, spell check has saved and ruined their
Yeah.
lives at the same time, because we're saved from embarrassing mistakes, but at the same time, we're not necessarily really
take away,
rooting
yeah.
the knowledge of the words that we're using. This has been, and I think it's part of the effort that you have here, the private sponsorship, and of course the Ministry of Education, a way of really challenging children to expand their vocabularies and learn about words from different cultures as well. How do you find the schools embrace this process? I mean, is it just they pick their top student and go ahead and put them in to win, or they're really trying to encourage the kids to learn and
Yeah.
understand the words as well?
These kids become like little heroes for their towns, for their villages, and we find that parents, the teachers, everyone, all the district education officers, everyone gets involved and supports their children, their students for this initiative. So maybe Jamor, you can.
And it's not just building spelling
it's vocabulary.
skills, it's vocabulary.
Yeah,
building.
and also learning how to compete in a healthy and in a friendly way.
Yeah.
It's about word usage. We're trying to improve language proficiency. English is not our first language. It's a second or another language, a third language. And for us to be proficient or try to develop mastery, there has to be that expansion of our vocabulary. And so it is very much in line with our curriculum when it comes to literacy. And so we encourage schools to utilize, for example, the general list, whether it's for the zone or for, let's say, the district finals or the nationals, and to work with their students. Many moons ago, when I was a primary school student, I had a teacher, Paul Marino Williams, who would give us word of the day,
Yeah.
whether it was loquacious or bombastic, and we would be using this
And you
word
still remember
throughout
that
the
now?
day. Yeah. And so we encourage our teachers to do the very same thing. We have PSE coming up. If we want to have our children to be good writers, it's a wonderful opportunity for them to utilize these words. To look at certain words, for example, you have a word, ghoul.
You are watching what page I'm turning to. I know it. Go ahead.
You know, that's a word a child might be tempted, and fortunately for them, because this is the general list,
I can see it.
they see the actual spelling. But if this, let's say, was a list reserve, they might go GOOL. And again, when we come to the reserve, an extra reserve, we give them the etymology, the origin, the meaning, usage in a sentence, etc., to kind of give them a sense. But you hear ghoul, you're thinking maybe GOOL, GOUL, and if we say keep trying again, they might then go with the GHOUL.
Yeah.
And so it's to look at developing that mastery, understanding. It's like I had a
And they're
little...
put in context by the sentences,
Right,
which is key
of
as
course.
Yes.
Right? I had a child some years ago who was reading and came across the word hearse. And the child said, "Isn't it horse?" I said, "No, it's hearse." And then we were trying to explain what it means, etc., so that you have an understanding. Because if your first language is not English, there is always the influence or what it is that you already know. You try to apply the knowledge. I don't know this word. And so it's and what we know for a fact is that the coaches, the teachers, and so on, they go through this list. They look for meanings, etc., and they try to, and that is what we want.
Now, let me ask you, because you pointed out something very important, the tie between learning to spell properly and the phonetics as to how the words are put together. How does it help with literacy? Because we know we have an issue with literacy in the country, and people aren't comfortable hearing that. But from our own experiences, we see how people struggle even as adults. But how does this help?
What is interesting about the English language is that we have borrowed words from every other language. And I always say in Belize that we have a tendency to creolize everything, or we slaughter words and we come up with our own pronunciation. And what we're trying to inculcate in our children is that proper pronunciation is very, very critical. I always joke and say that you cannot be putting the accent on the wrong syllable.
Oh, that's where William stole it from. He says that. He got it from you.
No, that's something that we always joke about.
You claim it, don't worry.
No, it's something that we joke about. Right? And there are certain words that we would say it and the student would look at you
And they think
say,
it's wrong.
right, you know,
Yeah.
and we say, no, that's not the way that you say it. When I was still in the classroom, I had said to my students something about you need to stir the coffee. And look, man, what are you talking about? Or no, I think it wasn't that. It was probably, I think I was saying something about veranda. And I think they said, like, veranda? It's not veranda, no, it's veranda.
True.
So it's to get into proper pronunciation. And so the thing is, if we're pushing mastery, if we're pushing proficiency, etc., then it means that we have to do a much better job. And I must say that we try, but this is a wonderful opportunity. People in the media, if you're going to write, we want to ensure that you do a wonderful job, because the writing, for example, is very, very essential. And so we want to commend those who uphold all of that and try to raise the level for all of us, because we are going to emulate those very same things. And so we have, as teachers as well, because students will follow what it is that their teachers are doing. So it starts from the very beginning and it moves on.
So let's talk about the zone competitions, the B&B National Spelling Bee Zone competitions.
When do they begin?
It starts February 9th and it runs through for the entire month of February. I believe the last date is February 24th. But our first zone will be in Orange Walk. I believe it's 2 or 3 days in Orange Walk.
Next week.
Okay.
Next week.
And they also get great prizes at the zone level too?
At the zone level, it's a little different. But yes, we have trophies. We have trophies for our winners. And then also moving forward to the district is where we have the involvement of our sponsors. So I'd like to take this time to mention our sponsors. We have Benny's, Belize Bank, Digicel, Fulltech, and Angela Express. And they assist us with what we call the word of the day. And so you also have an opportunity to win every day a prize from one of our sponsors, as well as at the end when
It's a secret word of the day.
Yes. Yeah. So our sponsors would choose 5 words, and at random, the student chooses a word. So, for example, they choose number 25. They'll be like, okay, that happens to be the Digicel word of the day. And they get a prize from our sponsor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Or maybe we could have a Channel 5 word.
Yeah, of course. We can look into that, right, Marlene?
It's possible. We might do discombobulated because that's a word we hear very often on the show. But you obviously get people to buy. I mean, we're talking about kids being able to excel in what they're good at, and it pushes everybody. Even the spectators learn quite a bit paying attention to the
Students that try and maybe they come in third one year and they try again and they come in second and they're first.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful opportunity.
And then after that, you move to
We move to the district finals, and the district finals will be in April. I have some of the dates here. Orange Walk, their zone elimination is next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 9th, 10th, 11th. And then in the Toledo district, they're the 16th and 17th, Corozal, 16, 17, 18. And once we get through the month of February, we compile the list for the district finals so that they can prepare. We want to ensure that they have at least a month, 4 to 6 weeks.
So there's a break, or
there is a break.
Zones
Yeah,
running?
well, different zones would be running, but once we get through with the entire zone, and the students know who will be going to the district finals,
Then
we
you
ensure
get
that they have the
district
list
list.
ready, and then we so that they can prepare. And the list, the district finals starts in April after we come back from Easter break. Corozal goes first, April 14th, followed by Orange Walk the 15th, then Toledo the 19th, Stan Creek the 20th, Belize the 27th, Kaya the 29th. So I believe you'll probably be seeing Leanne again when we get to that next
When we
level.
move on to the other
And
stage,
then the nationals will be in the Belize district, and that's June 5th. And that's for the big one.
all right.
All right.
And so the winners from last year, we have from Louisiana Government, Aliyah Laiva. Second place was Mishtoni Castillo, Crystal Angel Corozal. And third place, Amy Gonzalez, Corozal Nazarene. So last year, the North dominated.
So everybody else has to come back
Yeah.
strong then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we want to thank you for joining us and letting us know that the bee is definitely on the move at this point. And I'm sure we'll have you back again to be as the date gets closer for the big competition and find out more about it. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you
too.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back,
It's to talk about the 5th annual tribute to Bob Marley fundraiser in the North. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these.